All right, we live here at the Logan Power Show, live here in Mohawk Country, here at Bethune Bowman Middle High School. I know that we want to honor what people are doing and how they're making a significant impact, not only in the local area, but nationally. So this is the time that I want you who are watching me right now to see what we're about to experience. Experience is what I love the most, education. So to this particular special episode of the Logan Power Show, we're focusing on educators that are not just making a difference, but making a significant impact that's going to separate themselves for the next generation that's coming. We got to understand that education is a pivotal piece. We can't just neglect it, we got to embrace it. So stay tuned, stay attentive, keep your eyes locked at the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide, with me, your host, Calvin Logan.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.
And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey, give us your first and last name.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Justin Mackey, a proud alumni of the best HBCU. I'm a little biased, of the South Carolina State University. Go Bulldogs.
Got it. So tell us, why did you want to become an educator?
The reason why I want to become an educator is quite simple. First and foremost, I really wanted to be the teacher that I needed for myself growing up, so I'm glad that I have the opportunity daily to come in and, pour into the future, shape the minds of those leaders of tomorrow.
Got it. Big question. Do you see what you're doing now? Do you see it making an impact, or you think it's going to take some time to see it to full manifestation?
I see that it's starting to take an impact. Reason being, like me and my guy, Mr. Logan, we like to dress up around the school, and seeing that, some of the young men, they tend to take a liking to that. They always say, man, I like that tie, or I like those shoes, the way you carry yourself. So, just being that leader, leading by example, I can see that the young men are really starting to take notice.
Got it. Looking at yourself, being an African-American male, just males in general, a lot of times education is not always the first thing on your mind. When it's all said and done, where do you want your legacy to be?
Really, that's a loaded question. But really, I just wanted to be that, when it's all said and done, that I was able to pour everything into somebody. Each one teach one. Every day I try to reach one student. If I can get one, then my day is done. So I did my job for the day. So when it's all said and done, I really just want to make an impact and leave wherever I end up at better than I found it.
Got it. Final question. We say it takes a village. We say that it takes more than just one person to actually have the generation of today become leaders of tomorrow. In your humble opinion, what will it take for education to be great again?
In my opinion, I think that it was, like you said, it takes a village. So it'll take the parents, teachers, district officials. It'll take everybody, I know education is... It's a noble profession, I would say that, but it's one that's continuously changing. So I would say that us having leaders that continue to change with the times, since education is something that's always changing. But I think we're in a good step. We just got to take it day by day, step by step, and just adjust where we see necessary.
Got it. If you can speak to a person that's watching this right now and say they want to take on your profession, tell them why they should consider education.
So any advice to any up-and-coming teachers, I would really just say, just take it day by day and really be intentional. I noticed or found in my classroom that the more you're intentional with the students, the better the impact you have, the better relationships, the better they'll be open to receiving the information that you're teaching. So if you are an upcoming teacher, I wish you the best. It is what it is. But I know all the testing, certification, that's the bad part about it, but it is possible to get through, and just wish you all the best, and hopefully you can join this noble profession one day.
Can I get your first and last name, please, ma'am?
My name is Catherine Mack.
Thank you, Miss Mack. And how long you been a teacher?
I've been teaching for 29 years.
And Ms. Mack, in your 29 years of teaching, why did you become a teacher?
Well, when I first started college, I was an agribusiness major, but I found that wasn't for me, and I started keeping my nephew during the summer. And when I was keeping my nephew, he had a teacher that thought that he needed to be labeled as special ed. And I was like, I wasn't about to let my nephew go down like that. And I was like, he didn't have a learning problem. I think his problem was that his teacher didn't know how to reach him per se. So I was like, no, this is not about to happen. I wasn't going to let it happen to my nephew, and I wasn't going to let that happen to other children because the teachers couldn't reach them. They want to label them. That wasn't about to happen on my watch.
Final question, ma'am. How can we reach this generation as an educator, in your humble opinion?
I think we have to reach them where they are, which is kind of hard right now because right now their focus is not on education. Their focus is on everything else. Social media, they look at, they're into this clothing and fashion fad. We have to kind of get on their level and then bring them up to our level.
All right. Final thought. If there's someone who's watching and said they want to become an educator, how would you encourage them to want to become an educator?
Ooh. You really want them to come into education? Don't look at what's on the news. Don't look at what's on the news. Don't look at and take in what other people tell you, because if you go by that, I promise you this wouldn't be your field of choice. Learn it for yourself. Experience it for yourself. If this is not what you want, go back and do something else.
Can I get your first and last name, please?
Darlene Victoria Smith Haynes.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. And Ms. Haynes, how long you been a teacher?
I've been in the education field for 37 years.
37 years. Got it. Why did you become an educator?
My love for teaching and learning. From elementary school on, I used to love to help the teachers at the end of the year clear out their classrooms, just to get the extra materials that they were going to throw away to play school during the summertime.
Got it.
And I played major roles, school. When we played school, I was the principal, which helped me with my discipline in the classroom.
Got it. In your humble opinion, Ms. Haynes, how can we reach the youth of today as an educator?
As an educator, I think in order to reach the youth of today, we must be leaders ourselves. A lot of times in the educational field, we ask the kids to do things that we don't even set examples for them to follow. And a lot of them are looking for that tough love. And as educators, a lot of times we are afraid to exhibit that tough love because they take it as meanness, you being too firm. But it all goes back to expectations that I have in my classroom settings.
Can I get your first and last name, please?
Tanika Pierce Boney.
And what's your position here?
I'm the assistant principal in high school.
Got it, yes, ma'am. And how long have you been in education?
This is my 18th year in education.
Got it. And why did you want to become an educator?
Actually, I went the unorthodox way. I did not want to be an educator, but in college I ended up tutoring at an after-school program and loved it. And then I ended up getting pregnant and having a child. So I realized, hey, let me try this education thing for like 3 or 4 years. And I ended up falling in love with the summers and falling in love with teaching.
Final question. How can we as educators reach the youth of today?
I think we first have to meet our students where they're at. So once we meet them where they're at, then we can build them up into the capacity that they need to be. Because a lot of times we want our kids to, have these particular expectations, but before we get there, we have to be able to see that student and understand that student, where they come from. And then from there, we can train them up.
Can I get your first and last name, please?
Hello, I'm Crystal Bryant-Lett.
And how long have you been teaching?
I have been teaching for 13 years. This makes year number 13.
And why did you want to become a teacher?
When I was in school, I had no teachers that I could relate to. To me, none of them made learning fun. The activities were all book work. So I wanted to become the teacher that I never had. I want to be able to answer questions and use hands-on engaging activities, make it fun for the kids, make this an environment and a space where the kids would like to come to. When they go home in the afternoon, they look forward to coming to here the next day. So I want to be the teacher that I never had.
And in your humble opinion, how could we reach the youth of today?
In my opinion, we can reach the youth of today by not only focusing on just the academics. Of course, I want you to grow in science class. I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. But I also understand that you can't do those things until I meet your needs first. Am I welcoming when you come into my door? Do I give you a hug? Do I ask you how your weekend went? Do I ask you how you're feeling today? So I think we have to be more personal with our kids. I know we have this teacher-student boundary that can't be crossed, but I also know that we're human beings. And I should be able to ask you how your weekend went. How's your mom doing? How's sports going for you? So the touching on things that are also outside of the classroom is how I think we can draw kids in closer.
Final question. There's someone watching here, and there's a teacher shortage. What are some encouraging words to tell people why they should join this field?
You should join this field if you have a passion for teaching. I think we all know that the money is not where we want it to be, not where we expect it to be, but I think if you have this drive in you, if you have this need to help others, to want to see others succeed, to get kids out of situations that they're in and make sure they thrive, I think that you have to have it within you, that feeling of wanting to see other people succeed, and I think that is what will draw people to this profession.
Can I get your first and last name, please?
Osha Smalls.
Thanks so much, Mr. Smalls. And how long have you been a teacher?
I've been teaching this will be my 4th year teaching.
4th year. Mm-hmm. What made you decide to become a teacher?
Well, I think that's funny. So I've actually had some form of a role model figure when I was in high school. My cheerleading coach, she was a resource teacher. Then I graduated from Orangeburg High School, attended South Carolina State University with the intentions, and I did start off majoring in speech pathology and audiology. I ended up changing my major to special education, learning disabilities.
Got it. Now, since you're teaching special ed, we know that's a very critical need area. For you, in your humble opinion, what will allow, other future special educators come into the field? What would you tell them to encourage them to want to get into this field? Why it's such a critical need?
I always had the philosophy that all children have and need an equal right to education. So if this is something that you're truly passionate about, do it, because there is a huge teacher shortage, as we all know, in the nation. So it's imperative that if this is something that you're going to go into, do it with your heart and not with the idea of focusing on, oh, well, how much is this, how much is that, because times are hard and it's understandable that everybody is in a dire financial need. But the issue that, as once I was a student before, is the old saying was, oh, they only come to collect a paycheck. They don't care about us. And that's huge coming from students, especially if, using me as a great example, I'm celebrating 10 years graduating from high school. So I know what it's like to be in those shoes, considering now I am on the other side of the fence as a educator now. So I ensure that I make my mark or some form of impression on students that I care. I'm not just teaching by the book or by the South Carolina state standards. I'm teaching based off on experience and the need of ensuring that those students know what life is really like outside of these 4 walls of high school, because there are a lot of things that I learned that nobody had to teach me. I had to teach myself, or I had to just go through it. So I took a lot of L's, which stands for lessons and not losses. In order for me to gain that knowledge and experience, I had to go through it. So I'm not able to teach my students and students within the community about what that's like. So if that's something that you have the knowledge and power to do, and you have that hunger is key. If you have that hunger and that drive, that passion, if you're considered a person to do so, that's what teaching is all about. It's more than just teaching a standard.
All right. You have been Miss Orangeburg and the first ever here, being an educator plus being in a actual public figure. Tell us about how you became Mrs. Orangeburg.
Okay, so I was crowned on March 6, 2022 under the Miss America organization. It's a scholarship program. I've grown to love it tremendously. Not only that it has helped me financially through school, but it has also helped me build and foster a form of sisterhood with 55 of the girls that competed with me. Jill Dudley, who was the Miss South Carolina 22, I love and adore her. But we all come from different worlds. So you're able to spend a whole week communicating and practicing what you do best on stage, and we all support and love each other. I just attended one of my friend's weddings, who we also competed for the title, so I enjoyed that. I felt honored, and it was really a privilege to just be able to be in attendance, to say that it was only 4 or 5 girls that competed that were in attendance of that wedding. And it was rather small, but you know, I know that meant the world to her. So very excited for that. I have a lot of other friends that are competing. But overall, I competed under 4 or 5 categories. So of course, they don't count your introduction, but your stage presence is key, first off. But I competed for evening wear, talent, as well as on stage question, followed by there was also a personal private interview. So they asked us questions in regards to your slate. What is your platform? At that time, my platform was ESPN Sports, which stands for Every Special Person Needs Sports. I believe that within our community that we should create a more inclusive environment for all students to participate in sporting events. So prior to June of 22, I was able to actually help out with the Special Olympics at Fort Jackson. I thought that was an amazing opportunity. I actually tabled the idea of creating an inclusive environment for all students with Orangeburg County School Districts. I was unfortunately not able to really participate and have a hand in with that, but if you are an employee of Orangeburg County School Districts, you can see that there are constant emails about Special Olympics and how they're trying to get everybody involved in that. So definitely I would like to shed light and give more exposure on that. I think that's really huge. Also, as I was competing for that title, just by participating in the Miss South Carolina Scholarship or pageant in June of 2022, I received $1,000 just for participating, and then also received another $1,000 for winning the Brenda Nichols Task to Teach Award. And in order for you to have that scholarship, in order for me to be required, in order for me to receive that scholarship, I had to become an educator. That was the main requirement. And since I was already in my field, alongside other girls who just graduated from college and were already, you know, they just received their licenses to teach, they have never stepped foot in the classroom as of that time. Versus me, that was my 2nd year teaching. So that's how I was able to qualify for that scholarship. So overall, I had $2,000. I was able to spend it wisely with my tuition with Grand Canyon University so I can clear my debt. And that's pretty much it. I enjoyed the Miss America organization. And then after that, I transitioned to the Miss Universe organization 2023, which was last year, competing with the same title, but of course adding the USA, as I will be vying for the title Miss South Carolina USA. this year again. And if I am to win Miss South Carolina USA, I will be representing South Carolina on the Miss USA the USA stage. So that's something I'm really excited about. It's all about representation, and representation is really key, because to be the first and as of right now only documented African American Black woman who is also an educator from Orangeburg County school districts, that's really big to say that I'm the first. So it's an honor, it's a privilege. I do what I can, and I'm always looking for a hand in and not necessarily hand out when it comes down to community service and serving the school community as well.
Absolutely. Final question. We know our youth is a very pivotal role to making a difference of tomorrow. In your humble opinion, how can we reach our youth of today?
In order for us to reach out our youth for today, we have to listen. There are different ways of communication, and understand that it can be frustrating to understand why there are different versions or different types of emotions that are set in place. But if we just put our emotions to the side and really listen with our ears open, our hearts and minds open as well, we can literally see through body language as well as listen from their voices, their perspectives as to what they feel, what they're going through. Maybe just sit the time and ask the question, are you feeling okay? No, I don't feel okay. Well, what's wrong? So when you ask those, or when you probe through students or through our youth today, they can actually voice what's really wrong with them. And if they don't voice it, then it's all about actions. We as adults, we have to really pay attention to the body language that the students, or again, the youth, how they convey it, because that matters most. And once we're able to listen, then we can adapt, modify, and change how we view the students altogether. I think that's very important, solely because you have to put yourselves back into your own old shoes, not necessarily their shoes, because it's a different kind of world that we live in now versus how we used to live in our, adolescent ages. So think about how you didn't like when the teacher, when your parent didn't listen to you whenever you wanted to voice your opinion or how you felt about a situation, and how you were always pointed blame to. So think about that before you pass judgment. I think that's very important, and kids definitely pay attention to that.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.